From the Millersville University Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kyle Elliott here with the medium range forecast and video discussion issued on Monday, December 22nd. Well, the good news in terms of the weather heading into the Christmas holiday is that our tranquil and relatively mild conditions on Christmas Eve look like they're going to spill over into Christmas Day itself. But thereafter, things are going to get very complex and complicated from Friday through the upcoming weekend. And numerical computer models have done an absolutely abysmal and terrible job trying to handle the impending situation from Friday through the upcoming weekend. They have changed drastically over the past 24 to 48 hours and may continue to do so over the next day or two. So I'm going to show you what they're indicating right now, but just keep in mind that this forecast could change drastically over the next 1 to 2 days. So without further ado, let me start by taking a look at the Canadian model for 1 p.m. on Thursday, Christmas Day itself. And what you'll notice is there is this weak disturbance that's going to be sliding southeastward through the Ohio Valley and the central Appalachians. But I don't expect more than a few sprinkles from that later Wednesday night into Thursday morning. The European model is essentially showing nothing at all here on Christmas Day. That disturbance is even weaker and suppressed farther south and west compared to the Canadian. So honestly, I think Christmas Day itself turns out to be dry, tranquil, and relatively mild. There may be a northerly breeze of 12 to 25 miles per hour throughout the day, but overall it should be partly sunny, and again, highs should be in the mid to upper 40s on Christmas Day. So a really nice Christmas, especially in terms of the weather for traveling back and forth to family gatherings or holiday celebrations. So you really couldn't ask for much better weather on Christmas Day itself. However, as we move forward then into Friday, I want you to focus your attention on this disturbance over the Rocky Mountains on Christmas Day. Well, that's going to eject eastward into the Midwest and the Great Lakes region by Friday. So you'll see on the Canadian that low pressure system is generally over the Midwest Friday afternoon. The European is in a similar location with that, but the European suggests that that low pressure system does move eastward a little more quickly than the Canadian. So the Canadian keeps us dry for most of the day on Friday, but the Euro brings a wintry mix of sleet, freezing rain, and rain into the lower Susquehanna Valley by Friday afternoon. So the verdict's still out on this when this precipitation actually arrives on Friday. But the challenge here is that this storm system is going to be running into this cold, dense air mass that is essentially going to get dammed down the eastern slopes of the Appalachians. You'll notice this large Canadian high pressure system over southeastern Canada, and the clockwise flow around that is going to cause this cold, dry air to seep south and westward down the east-facing slopes of the Appalachians from Thursday night into Friday. So with mainly clear skies and light winds Thursday night, low temperatures will bottom out below freezing, and then with those clouds moving in on Friday morning, temperatures are going to struggle to get back up to or above the freezing mark Friday afternoon. And then that precipitation is going to overspread this cold air at the surface. Even though temperatures 5,000 feet above the ground are going to be well above freezing, temperatures at the ground are going to be below freezing. So that means the precipitation will likely fall in the form of sleet and freezing rain later Friday into Friday night. So this could be a real problem in terms of travel later Friday afternoon, especially if this precip gets in here earlier than expected. I mean, sleet and freezing rain are the most dangerous precipitation types to drive in because roadways will essentially turn into a sheet of ice and tires cannot gain any traction on those icy roadways. So I'll have to finesse and fine-tune these details over the next 24 to 48 hours, but just keep in mind that it could really be a travel nightmare later Friday into Friday night. And as a result of running into that Canadian high pressure system, this low pressure system will not have a chance to cut north and eastward then through the Great Lakes region. Instead, it's going to be forced underneath that high, and it will ultimately get shunted southward off the mid-Atlantic coastline then later Friday night into Saturday. You'll see that happening here on the Canadian model. That low pressure system ends up exiting the east coast around New Jersey. The European shows a similar solution. The storm exits the east coast around New Jersey Friday night, and then it's out in the open waters of the Atlantic on Saturday. So right now I kind of expect that any lingering precipitation will end early Saturday morning, and then Saturday should just turn out cloudy, damp, raw, and dreary, with temperatures stuck in the mid to upper 30s for most of the day. So any of that sleet and ice should at least melt Saturday afternoon with temperatures above freezing. It won't take much for that ice to melt off the roadways and the trees, especially with treatment chemicals applied to the roads. But it's still not going to be a pleasant start to the weekend whatsoever on Saturday. And then you'll also notice there's a second system developing in the central states by Saturday afternoon. That system should be able to cut into the Great Lakes region later Saturday night into Sunday. It does look a lot more intense than the first system, on Friday into Friday night, and that high pressure system over southeastern Canada is going to begin to retreat farther north. So that storm system should be able to track farther north and west than the one Friday into Friday night. Both the European and the Canadian models show that, with the system ending up over the Great Lakes region or southeastern Canada on Sunday. But there will be a cold front trailing southward from that system that should sweep through the Commonwealth Sunday into Sunday night and bring another round of showers or period of steadier rain to the region during that time. I'm optimistic the temperatures will break into the low 50s on Sunday across southern portions of the state, but that is definitely no guarantee, especially with this cold, dense air dammed up east of the Appalachians. So taking a look at the medium range forecast, mild on Christmas Day itself with a mix of clouds and sun, high 48, and then just an absolute mess on Friday, cloudy with a wintry mix of sleet, freezing rain and rain, and that high of 38 could honestly be optimistic. We may be stuck in the low to mid 30s all day long. Cloudy, damp, and dreary on Saturday. Again, that high of 40 could also be optimistic. We may be in the mid to upper 30s all day on Saturday as well. Moving ahead then into Sunday, mostly cloudy with a chance of rain and highs in the mid to upper 40s. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the Medium Range Forecast. Tune back in 2 weeks for the latest edition. Until then, follow my updates at MU Weather on Twitter, X, and also tune back tomorrow for my latest edition of the Special Weather Discussion, where I'll give an update on both these systems, the one Friday into Friday night and also the one on Sunday into Sunday night. So check back then.